French, German leaders say Ukraine allowed to strike inside Russia.
UN Security Council holds urgent meeting as Israeli intensifies attack on Rafah.
Smart rice cultivation to protect environment and increase profits.
Hello everyone, you are watching today's news on NTV channel. My name is Thành. Let's get started. France and German leaders have agreed to allow Ukraine to use Western supplied weapons to target military sites within Russia, where Russian missiles are being launched to attack Ukrainian territory, but not other targets.
The statement was made by French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at a joint press conference in Grancy during Macron's visit to Germany. French President emphasized the need for Ukraine to neutralize Russian military bases while stressing that Kyiv should not target civilian sites. Scholz said he agreed with Macron and that as long as Ukraine respected the conditions given by countries that supplied the weapons and international law, it was allowed to defend itself. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg recently urged alliance members to lift the ban on Ukraine using Western-supplied weapons to counter Russian attack. This proposal received support from some NATO members but also faced opposition from many others. Russian President Putin previously warned of serious consequences if Ukraine uses Western-supplied weapons to attack Russian territory, which he believes could trigger a global conflict.
The UN Security Council has called an emergency meeting to address the alarming situation in Gaza. Despite strong opposition from the international community, the Israeli military is escalating its full-scale attack on Rafah, a city in southern Gaza, employing airstrikes and tanks.
Witnesses report that many Israeli tanks have advanced into the center of Rafah city, near the famous Rafah Mosque, Al-Adha. Gaza health officials reported at least 26 Palestinians died in Rafah during the Israeli military's pre-dawn attack on May 28. Additionally, the Telephone al-Sultan area also continues to be heavily bombarded by Israeli airstrikes, although a recent attack on a refugee camp resulting in at least 45 deaths and 200 injuries. On the night of May 28, according to Vietnam Time, the UN Security Council held a closed meeting to discuss the latest developments in Rafah, while leaders of many countries condemned Israel's actions, which resulted in the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians.
During his ongoing working visit in China, Mr. Nguyễn Thị Minh Khai, Deputy Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee and Chairman of the People's Committee of the province, along with his delegation, visited several corporations and enterprises in Thuận Quan and Central City, Quang Thuong Province. These companies are either already investing in Nghệ An province or exploring investment opportunities there. In Thuận Quan City, the delegation visited the manufacturing plant of Everwind Group, which specializes in mobile phone components, new energy vehicle components, industrial robots, and integrated automation systems. Everwind is currently running 2 projects in Nghệ An, 1 Bishop Industrial Park. The delegation also met with Luxshare ICT Group, which is investing in 2 projects in the same industrial park. The next stop were TIP Shine Company in Shenzhen City, a subsidiary of Phạm Phú Group. TIP Shine specializes in logistics and technology and serves as a key partner of Foxconn, Luxshare ICT, and other major technology groups worldwide. Meeting with representatives of these companies, the chairman of Nghệ An People's Committee affirmed that the province always welcomes and creates the most favorable conditions for investors to implement their projects. Coming up next are some updated news.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh signed an official dispatch ordering the engagement of the whole political system to accelerate site clearance for key transport projects. According to the dispatch, the 13-party Congress defines the national target to have some 3,000 kilometers of expressway by 2025 and 5,000 kilometers by 2050. After 1 year, localities have reclaimed and handed over 70% of the land area to investors. However, slow progress in site clearance has delayed the pace of several projects. For the transport projects to meet schedule, PM Chin asked involved sectors to encourage residents to hand over their land to make way for the projects.
As of May 20th, the total registered capital for new issuance, adjustment and contribution to buy shares or capital by foreign investors reached more than $11 trillion, an increase of nearly 2% compared to the same period in 2023. The realized capital of foreign investment projects is estimated to reach around $8.25 billion, increasing by 7.8% compared to the last period. New investments continue to maintain a high growth rate compared to the same period, in both terms of project number and investment capital. There were 1,226 new projects granted with investment registration certificates, with a total registered capital of over $7.94 billion United States dollars.
Yesterday afternoon, dozens of workers at the MLB Ternagi garment factory in Yentan town were hospitalized due to suspected food poisoning. It was reported that 2 hours after lunch, 5 workers showed signs of food poisoning and were taken to a medical facility for observation. By 5:30 p.m., 73 others with similar symptoms were brought to the hospital. Upon receiving this information, the district and province's authorities promptly sealed food samples for testing, investigated the cause and responded to the food poisoning. However, this morning, some workers had to be hospitalized for symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, while others who were discharged last night had to return to the hospital for treatment and health monitoring.
In recent years, greenhouse gas emissions in the agricultural sector have accounted for 32.2% of the total emissions. Among these, emissions from rice cultivation represent the highest proportion, exceeding 50% in crop groups. Acknowledging this, in 2024 spring crop, Nghệ An province transitioned to smart rice farming models to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions and issue carbon credits. The move aimed to achieve both economic efficiencies and environmental benefits. This spring crop, Mr. Nguyễn Thị Minh and his family in Truyền commune, Dolang district, have nearly 0.3 hectares of rice involved in low-emission cultivation model. According to Thành, this year productivity is quite high, showing significant benefits compared to traditional rice cultivation.
Rice plants have concentrated tilling with few breakage, contributing to prevent mud, flooding, making it less difficult for farmers. This helps increase crop productivity, save water, reduce pests and protect the environment.
This smart rice farming model primarily relies on the method of alternating wet and dry irrigation, which help reduce irrigation water consumption without reducing productivities. This method maintains soil moisture by lowering the water level below the field surface by up to 15 cm at certain stages.
The evaluation of the 2024 spring crop shows a 40 to 70% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions and a 40% reduction in water usage during rice cultivation. This irrigation method not only improves rice productivity but also qualifies for carbon credits, presenting potential income for people in the future.
In the first season, Nghệ An province adopted the smart rice cultivation model on 3,300 hectares of rice in the district of Nam Dan, Đô Lương, and Diễn. The pilot model had yielded positive results, with yielding reaching 37 to 35 tons per hectare, higher than last year. Therefore, in upcoming summer-autumn crop, this model will be expanded to other districts, such as Tân Kỳ, Quỳnh Lưu, and other localities. This is the end of the show today. Thank you for watching.